Hi everyone. Wanted to take a few moments tonight to have a chat with you about something that's sort of come up in the last few days and probably been primary to a lot of the conversations I've been having with prospective clients as well as past clients, I suppose, or people that have been in the groups that sort of come up in there as well. So the point of my videos are going to be things that have sort of happened in my little world with questions that have sort of come up that may be relevant to you and where you are in your business journey, as well as, little snippets of the information that I have and the knowledge that may help you out. So in case you don't know who I am, I'm Trish and I'm from Trish Malili Design. I'm a graphic designer. I've been doing this for a little while, over 20 years. So logo design is one of the things that I do quite a bit of. It's not the only thing that I do, but I do quite a lot of it. So one of the questions that did come up probably yesterday and today as well was, why isn't my logo working? Why does everyone hate it? I love it so much, but why is it not, being received well, or why it's not responding the way I thought it would be, taken? So the question posed is, what makes it a logo work? And there are 5 principles to that. And there's a lot of background stuff that happens when creating a logo. It's not just a matter of putting, some text to an image. There's a lot of research that goes into that. Well, my process is anyway. I'm not sure how anyone else works, but, a lot of research goes into your market, who you're actually targeting your logo to, what language we need to speak in, etc., etc. So I thought I'll go through the 5 principles really quickly. I won't keep it too long. Don't know how quiet my house is going to be. I'm sort of taking a few minutes in between doing some work. So the 5 principles are basically simplicity, memorability, timelessness, versatility, and appropriateness. Okay, so very quickly, simplicity. Obviously, you want to keep your logo quite simple. And I say yes to that, but I also do have the other opinion. It depends on where that logo is going to go and where the client wants it to be seen or used. You'll look through some of my stuff and you'll actually see, to say, Trish, but some of your logos are not simple. They've got quite a lot of detail in them. Yes, that's correct. Hi Lisa, how you going? Nice to see you, honey. I haven't seen you for a long time. Hope everything's going well. So basically what I say to my clients is, okay, where are you going to use this logo? Is it going to be, have to be this tiny? Does it need to go on a huge billboard? We need to take all those things into consideration. Some people aren't fussed about, having it tiny. So I don't need to worry about, keeping the detail simple. I can actually go a little bit more detailed. So yes, simplicity, depending on where the client would like that logo to go. So, that's all pretty much determined by that conversation. It needs to be easily recognizable. So people should be able to see it in a split second and say, yep, I can read the font, I can see the image, know what it's about, and move on. We don't have a huge attention span. We need to get attention real quick. Okay, so we need to make sure that we catch the viewer's attention really quickly. So simplicity plays a part in that. The next one would be memorability, which means we need to make sure that logo is memorable. Okay, so that also relates back to simplicity, keeping it simple, keeping it easily digestible, and keeping it so that it stays in our memory banks. And that can be done with colour, it can be done with image, font, etc. So, another way, a logo can be memorable, and this is controversial, I think, and it sort of scares a few people. Miss you too, it's been forever. Hopefully next time you're back in, I don't know if you're back in town, Lisa, let me know and we'll catch up. But another way to actually make a logo memorable, and which is what I love to do, is to make it so that it sparks conversation. And sometimes the symbol or the logo, the icon that we use doesn't necessarily have to relate to the business. Now just wait. Don't turn off because I've said that. sometimes, depending on the business, we can't actually come up with an image or a symbol that represents that business in one image. Okay, so the next step would be, okay, so let's think of another tactic. Let's think of an unrelated or irrelevant symbol, but let's make it relate to you. And sometimes by doing that, and a lot of companies have actually done this really well, it'll make you actually question, hopefully my battery doesn't die, but if it does, I'll come back. You know, by making it irrelevant, or that irrelevancy of that symbol makes it relevant, because then you start to explain why it's relevant to you. And that's a conversation starter. That is memorable. That's what people will remember, because the psyche works in a funny way, and we're dealing with psychology of people. And yes, we want it to be simple, but we want it to be memorable. Let's give them something to talk about. Let's make it so that it's, you know, a little bit, you know, off centre, so that it sparks that memory. Okay, so the next one would probably be timelessness. Really important, and I think a lot of logos miss the mark on this one. We need to make sure that it stays relevant 5 to 10 years from now. And what we're finding at the moment, or what I'm finding at the moment, is there are trends, which there are trends in every industry, but logo design is one of those things where trends is huge, and a lot of people are following trends with their logos for their businesses. It's a big no-no. That is going to date. You know, foils is one of them. Foil is huge at the moment. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful, but don't use it in your logo. And if you're going to use it in your logo, make sure you use it in your logo where it's going to be still relevant 10 years from now. Why don't you want to have to be doing your logo more than once? It costs money to do your logo. It's not a cheap exercise. And you know, and to redo your logo means rebranding your business. You've got to think about your past clients. You've also got to think about your prospective clients. Prospective clients, not so much. Hey, Vito, how you going? And so by rebranding, it can be dangerous, because you can lose a lot of people that you had because they don't understand. Unless you rebrand very well, you can lose a lot of people that you've worked on. So, or held, or already gained trust from. So be very careful with that and do it right. Make sure it's timeless and it lasts, you know, 5 to 10 years from now. Versatility, of course, also goes back to simplicity, and everything goes back to simplicity pretty much, in that you want to make sure that it's versatile, in that it works in one colour, it works on an image, it works black and white, it works white. So the way that we ensure that that happens as designers, we make sure that we're doing logos in vectors. Vector is basically created in an Illustrator file, which is an Adobe program, if you're not aware of it. And all good designers will know that's where the logo needs to begin and needs to end. Photoshop logos, GIMP, no, definitely not. Word publisher, no. If you're getting logos in any of these programs, they're not going to scale, they're not going to go huge, they're not going to go small. Vector actually works with all of those things, okay? So you need to make sure that the designer that you get on board to do your logo is creating it in Illustrator, okay? A very good designer will start the logo process in black and white, okay? They will not be working in colour from the beginning. Colour is a secondary process. So if all the elements work in black and white, we know that it's going to work, you know, everywhere that we put that logo, whether it's a business card, whether it's a billboard, whether it's a flyer, brochure, sitting on an image. We can actually determine all those things working in black and white. Okay, so colour is secondary. Illustrator is where a logo should be. Vectors is what a logo should be made of. Images in a logo, and I have done logos like that, but again, it's based on where that client wants that logo to go. And sizing is huge, okay? So there are a number of things with a logo. Yes, they've got to be simple. Yes, they've got to do all those things, but it depends on how the client is using it, okay? And if later they decide that they do want to be able to put it, you know, make it tiny or make it huge, I can come back to that and say, okay, well, we need to rework it, we need to simplify it. That is fine, because what we're doing is we're taking what we've already done and simplifying it to where we want to put it. Okay. The last one is appropriateness, making sure that our images are appropriate to our market. As you know, so basically, this is huge. This is where you need, as a person coming to me to do your logo, you need to know your market. You need to know who you're talking to. Every market has a different language. They speak a different language, just like, you know, Chinese, Italian, etc., etc. They will understand images, they will understand colour, they will understand different parts of a logo differently. And if you're not speaking the language of your market, you're going to lose them. You're going to actually attract, in some cases, the wrong market. Okay, so for example, if your market is, you know, 25-year-old male, okay, a 25-year-old male will speak a certain way. You'll have to know if that 25-year-old male is a corporate or he's in trade, or you need to know, you know, what language do they use in their everyday life? What do they buy? What do they watch? What do they eat? You really need to dig deep, okay, when you're looking at your market. And what I tend to tell my clients is, let's condense the market into one person. If you can visualize your market and give it a name, and I've got to say, my market are two avatars. I've got a female and a male, and I've named those avatars, and those avatars, I know how much they make a year, I know what industry they're in, I know how many children they could possibly have, I know, you know, what they like to read, where they like to go and eat dinner, where they socialise. You need to really dig deep. And the reason for that is, when I'm choosing an image, and if you don't know that, I help you find that information, okay? I'll ask you appropriate questions to be able to determine that. So if we can figure out what language your market speaks, I can create an image or a logo that speaks to them, and that makes a successful logo, okay? Having said all that, logos are not just pretty pictures, okay? And we've probably heard this 1,000,001 times. There is a lot of psychology that goes into building a logo. There is a lot of science that goes into building a logo. And a good graphic designer will be able to do all of that without you even being aware of it, okay? And that's just basically in conversation with you, asking the right questions, finding out about your vision, about your business, about who you are. Hi, Nikki, how you doing? And in all of those unspoken words is what I'm looking for, is the unspoken word. That's where the vision comes to life, and that's where your logo becomes relevant to your market. Okay, so that's basically what I wanted to share, just to give you a breakdown of what makes a successful logo. And let me try that again. Successful logo. It's late and I'm starting to slur, and I haven't had wine, so no. So again, simplicity, memorability, timelessness, versatility, and appropriateness. These are the things that make up a good logo. So if you want to have a look back at this video to understand what all of those things are, by all means do it. If you like what I've had to say tonight, please share. I would love you to be able to share and forward it to somebody who may be interested in what makes a great logo. And hopefully that helps some of you figure out a few things. But thanks, guys, for tuning in. Hopefully I'll see you guys in a few days. Questions come up all the time. So I will come to you with stuff that's happened in my day-to-day, and hopefully that'll help you out. But see you later, guys. Have a good night. Bye.